Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
She clenched her hands tightly. That's 2 lives gone. And they are both her own biological parents. LF Nora was really that ruthless. I will not let this slide, she seethed. With that in mind, she instantly proceeded to give a few familiar folks a call, getting the local police force to launch an investigation. Even though Sean would most definitely be investigating on his end, information would definitely arrive in a timelier fashion and in greater accuracy from those under the pressure of Interpol. After hanging up, Nicole looked at Nora's class with a grim look in her eyes. Nora, if all this is true, then you've truly brought this upon yourself. And as Nicole made her way back to her classroom seething with murderous intent, the sun was suddenly obscured by dark, grey clouds looming above them. The day soon passed, and once school was over, Samuel and Spencer stood at the school gate, waiting for Nicole. She saw the rather anxious expressions of their faces and quizzically, they asked, "What's the matter? Why the long face?" Samuel looked at Nicole with worry written all over his face. Someone had called the police in the morning, and I don't know what Nora told the police, but it seems that the officers had gone to our house. Mom and Dad gave us a call moments ago, and they asked us to go home as soon as possible. Mom's worried about you. Nicole's eyes darkened a little, for she had not even gone after Nora, and yet, the latter had already brought the police to her house. Fortunately, it just so happened she had already gotten the information she wanted. So let's send Nora to where she truly belongs today then. If that's the case, let's go then. Nicole calmly looked at the twins. Samuel pulled Nicole over. Wait, Nicole. I heard that Nora even brought a lawyer to sue you for causing deliberate harm to her. Yeah. Although she had attempted to hurt you, what you did to her wrist was. The 2 brothers began discussing about the issue. However, they were no law students and did not know which one of the problems was more serious. They could only fear that they would drag Nicole down with them. Nicole let out a wry smile in response. Responsibilities aside, who do you think dares to detain me now? Everyone in San Joto knew about her current status, except for blue-collared folks like Nora, who did not even know who she was and yet had dared to stir the pot. Every notable person would need to consider the Riddle family's prestige, as well as the influence of the Fire Crest. Therefore, she was not afraid at all. Moreover, none of them knew the law, while she did. Thus, even if Nora attempted to distort the facts, it would be an exercise in futility. Come, let's go home. The truth will reveal itself there, Nicole said as she got into the car first. Seeing Nicole's attitude, both Samuel and Spencer inexplicably found a sliver of confidence within. If Nicole's not afraid, we have no reason to be either, they thought. The 3 then got into the car, and their chauffeur quickly drove them back to the Riddle family's residence. Upon entering the house, the first thing Nicole heard was Nora's cry. She's not back even at this hour, she must be afraid. You cannot just sit by after what she did to my arm. This was the first time she heard Nora throwing such a tantrum at the Riddle's residence, and it looked like she was going all out. Nicole sneered as she walked in. What's the talk about me not daring to come back home? The instant she heard Nicole's voice, Nora's body instinctively trembled. She subconsciously turned her head around, thinking she would catch sight of Nicole's look of fear due to her calling the police. However, what Nora saw was an expression of nonchalance with an added sneer on it. Nora, I totally did not expect this. Was the lesson in the morning not enough? And now you're here causing a ruckus at my home. Nicole said. The words "my home" stabbed deep into Nora's heart. This was originally my home. If Nicole hadn't returned, I would have been the daughter of the Riddle family, living worry-free for the rest of my life. It's all because of Nicole. She's the one who took everything away from me. She took the life that was originally mine. Nora raged. With that in mind, Nora's fear quickly dissipated, replaced by nothing but roiling hatred. The Riddle family had left her in a hotel, having no longer cared about her. She was left with no one now. However, even if she could not return to the Riddle residence as a family member anymore, she was determined to extract a king's bounty from them before she left. Mustering her courage, Nora stood up as she tried to find the ferocity that she had displayed earlier. Why wouldn't I dare? You broke my wrist at the school entrance, and many had caught that on tape. I've called a lawyer over, and if this is not settled to my satisfaction by today, prepare for it to go viral tomorrow. She had concluded that the Riddles would not want to cause a massive scene, due to how much they cared about their reputation, regardless of who was the more culpable party in that fracas back at the school. Having seen through Nora's intentions, Nicole smirked. Glancing at the lawyer whom Nora had brought with her, Nicole's lips lifted smugly. Is that so? I see you've brought a lawyer here too, haven't you? Did your lawyer know that you were the one who struck first, and that there's a wound on my brother's hand as proof of that? The moment Nicole had uttered those words, Gloria, who was worried about Nicole, became even more anxious. What happened? Did Samuel and Spencer get hurt as well? Nora's wrist had already been tended to, but the plaster cast over her hand was shocking enough for her. When she thought of the wound on her son's arm, her heart bled. Hearing that, Samuel immediately stepped aside. I'm fine, Mom. Just a small cut. Nicole has already stitched the wound up. Stitched the wound up? How big of a cut was that to need sutures? Gloria's eyes reddened. She had never thought that the daughter she had raised for so many years, the obedient girl in the Riddles' residence many years back, would do something like that to the men whom she used to call brothers. She had broken her own wrist and Samuel got wounded as well? Gloria wondered. Although Nicole pitied Gloria, she could no longer bother to hold back due to the sorry state of affairs. She had to make Gloria witness Nora's true colors. Nora wanted to stab me with a knife, and Samuel got hurt trying to protect me. The wound took 4 whole stitches to have it sewn shut. How could that be? Gloria buried her mouth in her hands. Daniel looked at Nora once again, and his eyes, which initially had traces of guilt in it, darkened. I knew it. Nicole would not break your wrist for no reason. How could you do that to Samuel? He was your brother. As he had already had it up to here with Nora, Daniel flew off the handle, for he was utterly disappointed in Nora. Noticing that the parents who had once doted on her now glaring at her with looks of disappointment and hatred, Nora finally lost it. You're now telling me that we were once family? What of it when my parents died? You people left me in a hotel and had no plans to take me back in. If it weren't for that cold shoulder you've given me, I wouldn't have been forced to stop them at the entrance of the school. Nora's eyes reddened as she howled with her fists clenched, angrily chastising Daniel and Gloria's attitude of indifference toward her. Unable to just stand and watch anymore, Steve stepped forward and bellowed, Is it our fault that your parents died? Not too long ago, we've done all we could to help you find your parents, and here you are, being an ungrateful twat. Nora then turned to Steve as she sneered, her expression becoming menacing as she wailed, What? Am I supposed to thank you for finding my biological parents? It looks more to me like you people couldn't wait to get rid of me. It's a sham that you helped me look for my parents. Don't you go around pretending to be some saint. Gloria had never thought that a daughter she had raised would turn out to be the way she was today, to think that she was that ungrateful, to think that she harbored such hatred toward them. Unable to stomach the abuse any longer, Gloria raised her hand and slapped Nora. Nora, you disappoint me. Nora was stunned. The last thing she had expected was for a meek character like Gloria to actually hit her. There, the hatred in her heart churned and swelled even more violently. However, everyone who saw the slap knew that, although Gloria had slapped Nora, she had not used any force at all. That slap, however, caused Nora to shoot Gloria a maniacal glare. Since I'm no longer a member of the Riddle family, what right you have to hit me? Tell me, what right do you have? As she said that, Nora raised her hand to shove Gloria in retaliation. Nicole reacted quickly, and just as Nora was about to strike, she twisted her other arm and pressed it against the latter's back, causing Nora to double over before everyone around her. Let me go, damn you. Nora thrashed around in a frenzy, but as her other arm was broken, she was totally helpless. Watching as Nicole subdued Nora, both Samuel and Spencer felt that her movements were too well tactical and precise, like a police officer restraining a criminal. You think I'll still allow you to hurt my family? Nicole questioned, whereupon a crack was heard. Nicole exerted more force, causing Nora to feel a sharp pain on her shoulder. "You! Let me go." The pain of having her wrist broken by Nicole was still fresh in her mind as Nora struggled in terror. Yet, as Nicole held her down in place, she could only look at her lawyer, who was left perplexed. "Damn you! What are you standing there for? Help me out." Oh. The lawyer sprang to his feet in shock. Then, Nora suddenly thought of an idea. "Record this. Record this entire thing as evidence. I want to sue the Riddle family to bankruptcy for doing this to me." As soon as everyone heard Nora's maddening ramble, a sense of iciness descended upon the room. At this same moment, however, Nicole sneered. "No need for that. Just call the police. We're also about to call the cops to arrest a murderer." The instant the word murderer came out of Nicole's mouth, Nora was startled. Sensing the fear and astonishment in Nora, Nicole's eyes dimmed as she pushed forward with force, causing Nora to crash onto the ground. She fell over beside where the lawyer stood, causing the latter to take a reflexive step backward. Nora sat up with her hair totally frizzled and wild as she turned and looked at Nicole. "Nonsense. There's no murderer here. If there's anyone who should be calling the police, it's me." Nicole gave Nora a condescending look as she took her phone out and flashed her call log to Nora. In a single glance, Nora became stunned as the call log was lined full of her own phone calls. From the timestamp, it could be seen that those calls were made before her parents set off for the island. At that moment, her face turned pale. Noticing Nora's reaction, Sean glanced at Nicole's phone as he quizzically asked, "Whose call recording is that?" Nicole looked at her parents and back at Nora before saying, "These are the call records of Nora's father. As you can see, they were talking to her before tragedy struck." As they heard what Nicole was saying, Daniel and Gloria looked at each other, feeling that something was not right. Samuel and Spencer, on the other hand, immediately understood what Nicole had meant. She had told them that there was something strange with the circumstances surrounding the death of Nora's parents. Now that a recording had been procured, Nora must have been played a role in their demise. In spite of the fact that there was already proof, Nora still tried to talk her way out of her predicament. "It's just a call log. It doesn't prove anything. Don't you try to change the topic. I'm not here to listen to your hogwash." Even as Nora attempted to regain the upper hand, the Riddles were no fools. Sean coldly whipped his phone out and called the police. "Hello, 911. A chill radiated across Nora's heart at that instant as she glared at Nicole. "Even if you do not wish to compensate me, you don't need to besmirch me like this." "Compensation? You still have the nerve to ask for compensation?" Nicole sneered as she mocked Nora. "Do you think the Riddle family is some pushover? Fine. Since gratitude is a foreign concept to you, don't blame me for what I'm about to do today, Nora. I'll make you spit out every single penny that you've taken from Mom back then." Nora instantly panicked, struggling to maintain her composure as she hissed, "Fine. You don't want to pay up, huh? In that case, we'll meet in court. Let's go, Mr. Mack." Ignoring the pain on her knees, Nora forced herself up and turned around to leave. Before she could, however, Nicole stood in her path, blocking her. "Oh, thinking of leaving, are you? Too late. You won't be going back to the hotel we've arranged for you. A person like you are only fit to be in prison." "Nicole." Nora released a hysterical scream, having lost it. "Don't you spout another word of nonsense. I'm not a fool. What can a call log even prove?" Seeing that Nora still refused to give up, Nicole sneered. "Of course, a call log can't prove anything, but your father had accidentally pressed on the record button before he died. Want to hear the recording?" The smile on Nicole's face was cold, confident, and malicious, shattering everything that Nora had in her world of make-believe, and before Nora could even protest, Nicole had already clicked on the recording and played it in front of everyone. Then, Nora's voice immediately emanated from the phone's speakers. "Mom, Dad. When are you coming to the island? I'm in trouble. I need you to save me." "Nora, there's a storm coming and there are no boats. Quick, find yourself a shelter first," her parents yelled. "Buy one then. You won't be able to see me again otherwise." Nora cried, as if she had run into danger. As soon as Nora's parents had heard that, they panicked, and after comforting her for a bit, they gritted their teeth and agreed. "Wait for us, Nora. We'll come and save you right now. Dad will definitely be by your side today." After that, the call ended. Upon hearing that, a realization dawned upon everyone present in the house. Sean's eyes became downcast as he said, "It was not an accident at all. LT was Nora who insisted on them going out to sea during a storm." Those words instantly cleared all the doubts they had in mind. In addition, they had left Gloria utterly stunned. Impossible. They are Nora's birth parents. She then looked at Nora in shock and disbelief. What kind of daughter would she need to be to force her parents to go out to sea during a storm onto the island to look for her? However, even under such scrutiny, Nora still attempted to lie her way out. "I did not. I really ran into trouble. I was robbed. That's why I begged them to save me." "You're still trying to lie your way out at this juncture?" Nicole looked at Nora, feeling that the latter was an utter dunce for the first time. If she could find Nora's call records, as well as the call records in the waterlogged phone of her deceased father, what made Nora think that she would not be able to find out if she was really being robbed? Nora glared at Nicole, and upon witnessing the glint of confidence in the latter's eyes, a sense of foreboding began to swell within her. And surely enough, Nicole pulled another recording out. Nora was acting strange that day and was hiding in the hotel all day long. She was calling someone, asking them to look for her. "Then, I heard news of her parents' death at sea. It's so scary." That sentence caused Nora to despair at once. Shit. Nora panicked, as she had never thought that Nicole could get the testimony of her classmates. She was prepared. That was why she could come home so confidently, and even asked her family to call the police. It was then that the Riddle family became aware of Nora's true colors. Gloria turned to Nora and felt that she was looking at a terrifying monster. She was just a young woman, and yet, she had done something so despicable toward her own biological parents. On the other hand, Sean, Steve, and the others looked at her with a look of hatred and disgust. Is she that little sister we had back then? Was her cute and kind nature all an act? It's terrifying to have a little sister like this. At this moment, the butler walked in. "Sir, madam, the district police is here." The second she heard that the police were here, Nora trembled in terror. With the evidence presented before her, she knew that this was a one-way ticket into prison, so she bit her lips and started begging for mercy. "No, I don't want to meet the cops. Mom, Dad, you won't see me go to jail, won't you?" she wailed. "We are not your mom and dad," Daniel yelled. She had just severed the very last vestiges of ties with the Riddle family, and now, she is calling them mom and dad again. Disgusting, truly disgusting. When she saw that Daniel was giving her the cold shoulder, Nora turned to grovel before her brothers. "Sean, Steve, Stanley, Spencer, Samuel, any one of you. Please, don't let me go to jail. I'm your little sister. We've been together for so long now." Sean and Steve responded with looks of disgust in their eyes, while Stanley, Spencer, and Samuel bore looks of disappointment. They had never thought that Nora was a figure of pure wickedness who would still have the cheek to call herself their little sister. At this point, they could only wish that everything that happened in the past was nothing but a nightmare. "Nora, you brought all this upon yourself. Now, bear the consequences of your own action," Sean said icily, with nary a hint of pity. Once those were uttered, Nora became deflated, bereft of any hope and life left within her. All she did was watch as the police who were brought in approached her. Then, she burst out into a sudden and maniacal laughing fit. Fine, fine. You Riddles are sure in the business of being fond of the new and tired of the old, huh? Now you have a new daughter, you cast me aside like I'm a torn sock." Stanley frowned. "Since when have we ever done that? We've done our part for you. We've sent you back to your parents, given you enough money for you to live in comfort for the rest of your life, and yet, all of our love and effort had gone toward a wretched ingrate." As Stanley said that, Sean's eyes darkened. And don't think I don't know what you were secretly doing toward Nicole back then at home and at school. It was just that Nicole had kept everything under wraps. The moment those words were uttered, everyone was stunned. Then, Nicole looked at Sean with her eyes slightly narrowed. Could it be that Sean knew everything that Nora had done? Sean darted Nicole a glance, a fleeting glint of distress flashing in his eyes for a moment. I've been protecting Nicole in secret, but she had always managed to deal with all of the problems, so much so that it boggles me. However, Nora had always been targeting Nicole, and had done a lot of things to cause misunderstandings between Mom and her. Although he did not have clear-cut answers about everything, he had gotten Ella to help him take note of everything that had transpired after he had caught wind that Nora had been abusive to Nicole. As they studied in the same high school, Ella had reported everything he had heard to Sean. Nicole. Gloria looked at Nicole with a look of extreme remorse. There, it became clear as to why Nicole had previously attempted in vain to dissuade her, only for Gloria to repeatedly defend Nora following another one of her pity parties, hurting Nicole in the process. How hurt must this child feel, I wonder? It's fine, Mom. Water under the bridge, Nicole said, not bothering with all of the wrongs in the past as she did not want to make things difficult for her mother. Still, although she had never thought of telling Gloria about Nora's abuse of her to prevent her from being ridden with guilt, she did not expect Sean to know about it. Yet, that was no longer an issue, as everyone in the Riddle family now knew who Nora really was. Come with us, Nora Riddle. We suspect that you are involved in the deliberate murder of your biological parents. The officers went up to Nora with handcuffs brandished. It was then that Nora's eyes turned from sullen to murderous. Why can this family be all smiles as I head to prison? No. I'll make them regret this for the rest of their lives. With that thought in mind, she instantly grabbed the pistol she saw bolstered at the waist of the police officer and took aim at Gloria and Daniel. Think you lot can enjoy a family reunion while I go to prison? Dream on. I'll make you feel so much pain that you'd wished you were dead, Nicole. As losing a loved one was leagues more painful than one dying themselves, Nora wanted Nicole to suffer for the rest of her life. Stop. Daniel, Sean and the others cried out. But it was already too late. Nora had already disengaged the safety lock and was already prepared to shoot. Daniel instinctively shielded Gloria with his body, and with a loud bang, a deafening gunshot echoed across the room. Everyone was stunned, and even the butler was on the verge of doubling over in terror. The faces of the police officers blanched. They had not expected a shooting to happen. And just as everyone thought that Gloria had been shot, Nora's scream suddenly rang out. Off. Her scream jolted everyone back to their senses. Samuel and Spencer were the first to look at Nora, only to see a stream of blood gushing out from her arm. It seemed that she had been shot in the shoulder artery. Her pistol then fell off her hand as she tumbled onto the ground and cried out in pain. It hurts. It hurts. Somebody help me. Nora's screams echoed across the mansion. Then, everyone began to wonder if it was the police who had shot Nora. But when they turned to the other officer, they realized that the latter had not even drawn his gun at all. At that moment, Steve sensed that something was not right, and as he subconsciously turned around, he saw that Nicole was holding a pistol herself. Was she the one who fired the shot just now? Nicole, why do you have a gun? Steve's face turned pale, for it was illegal for citizens to bear arms. Moreover, Nicole was just a high schooler, and so, they could only wonder where she had gotten the gun from. At that moment, everyone turned their attention to Nicole. Catching the look of shock on their faces, she sighed and calmly put the pistol away. Don't worry, my firearm is legal. As she said that, she turned her digital watch on as an image of her ID card appeared before the police. The two police officers were dumbfounded the moment they saw it. Sighing, Nicole supposed they had not seen such a thing before. Then, she said, I'm a former Interpol officer, call sign S. I'm now serving under Spears Group of the Interpol Intelligence Service. Once you report this back to the station, someone will call me for verification. The moment those words were uttered, the two young officers looked at each other. This girl just looks like a high schooler. It was already shocking enough for them when she said she was an Interpol officer, let alone an intelligence agent overseeing the Interpol. They had never seen this document before, so there was no way for them to verify it. However, they dared not arrest her straight away while one of the officers immediately made a call. In a split second, Nicole received a call too, and after a few brief explanations, the officers seemed to have been notified as well. Under the gaze of everyone in the Riddle family, they apologetically said to Nicole, "Sorry for the trouble. We'll be taking her back to the station then." Not expecting that Nicole would still be fine after shooting her in the arm, Nora furiously roared, "Why are you only arresting me? She had shot me. She should be arrested too." What Interpol? These two cowards must have been afraid to arrest a member of the Riddle family, she thought. However, the police officers proceeded to cuff her before they hissed, "Go make it viral then. I dare you. She's an Interpol officer doing her duty, and you're just a criminal. Now move." It was only then that Nora knew she had been totally defeated. She had thought that the two officers were merely playing along with Nicole for fear of offending the Riddle family, but she had never anticipated that Nicole could really be an Interpol officer. Seeing that Nora was still in disbelief, Nicole smiled. "So now you know why I could dig out your entire dirt sheet?" In an instant, Nora understood everything. The reason why Nicole could find out about all that had happened abroad so quickly is simply because she is in this field. How am I supposed to fight her when she is of this sort of background? It is like throwing straw against the wind. She is armed, and if she had wanted, she could have killed me many times over, she concluded. Once again, her fear gripped her. Nora said no more as she gritted her teeth while the officers took her away with a look of humiliation and agony on her face. And just like that, peace finally returned to the Riddle's residence. The lawyer Nora had brought over fled with shaky legs. Meanwhile, the butler's heart began to race upon seeing the bloodstains on the ground. He immediately ordered the servants to clean the stains up as he went to a corner and took a fast-acting chest pain medication. Even after the servants had left, Gloria's face was still as pale as a sheet. She was clearly in shock, but at the same time, she was moved that Daniel had protected her by standing between her and the gun. If Nicole had not brandished a pistol moments ago, Daniel would have. Soon, Daniel arrived at the realization too, and took a deep breath to calm himself down. His voice was still trembling as he asked, "Nicole, you're an Interpol officer? My goodness. Who is my daughter exactly? She excels academically, she's a skilled medical practitioner, and it was already surprising enough for us that she is the bearer of the fire crest. But to think that she's also a member of the Interpol," he pondered. Former Interpol officer, Nicole reminded them with a whisper. She did not want to scare them, so she had left the details out. But Sean knew everything, and so, he was still a little flabbergasted. After taking a deep breath, Nicole said to Daniel, "The Spears Group is a supervisory organization to the Interpol. I'm a special agent of the Federal Intelligence Service, in charge of intelligence as well as the safety of some heads of states." The second the words special agent left her mouth, everyone fell silent. Both Samuel and Spencer, in particular, were so shocked they did not dare to take another breath. So, this is why Nicole is so skilled, as if she had undergone some sort of training. As it turns out, it is because she was a special agent. Yo, this is way too cool. But Nicole had never brought this up with anyone before. But since she's an Interpol officer, she must be capable of just about everything, right? But everyone thought she was a loser during the initial semester. Now that they thought about it, they realized they were literally too blind to recognize greatness. They did not know that Nicole was indeed a special agent. A special agent would definitely know everything. The math Olympiad is nothing to them. At that very instant, Stanley snapped back to reality as he wiped the sweat off his brow. Then, with a whisper, he asked her, "When was this? Why didn't you tell us?" Nicole took a deep breath. "Our duties are classified and our identities are to be kept secret from our friends and family. It is for your safety that I stayed at school." With the way things were now, Nicole was afraid that they would be too worried about her bearing arms illegally, so Nicole decided to reveal the truth to them. And the instant her family heard that the reason as to why she stayed in the dormitories was to protect them, everyone felt an aching pain in their heart. You should have told us sooner. There's nothing a family cannot weather through together, Steve then said with a serious look. Yeah, isn't it more dangerous for you to stay in the dormitory because of this? Spencer looked at Nicole with concern. The fact that she had survived the previous semester truly left him puzzled. To think a genius like her is forced to go to school with us. It's okay. I've rarely ever had time to enjoy such an idyllic school life. This is a good time to experience it if ever, Nicole answered. For a moment, the brothers were at a loss for words. To think that Nicole being so low-key at school was just so that she could experience a peaceful school life. Indeed, the elites were in school just to experience life. Realizing how understanding of a girl Nicole was, Daniel was pleased. We didn't even know we had such a good daughter in you. When did you join the Spears organization? I have no way of getting in touch with such a high-level organization myself, and Nicole is just a high schooler. This truly defies belief, he thought. Seeing that the servants had cleaned the bloodstains on the floor, Nicole sat down and looked at her parents. This tale will be quite long, so I'll make it short. In truth, Nicole was not the best when it came to recounting her past, and she just wanted to simply gloss over it. However, Gloria stared at her with bloodshot eyes. No, I want to hear everything. I want to know all about your past. She is my daughter, but even after her return, I still don't know who she truly is. I don't know what she had been through, what she had experienced. I'm such a failure of a mother, Gloria agonized. When Nicole saw the sincerity in her mother's eyes, her gaze softened. Her brothers too took their seats, wanting to hear everything about Nicole. Nicole's eyes grew distant as she recalled her past. When I was 8, I released a child who was being held by human traffickers for his organs, and that was when they captured me. It was Zane and his men who showed up and saved me. It was also that year when she met Lloyd, who could not locate his family due to his amnesia, so Zane had to bring the two along with him. That person got injured trying to save me, so he stayed with Grandma and me for a period of time. He then taught me some martial arts to defend myself, but he also found out that I had some innate talent in it. So, later on, he decided to take me, along with another child, into the organization's youth training base, she said. It was also then that she had become partners with Lloyd for several years until he was discovered by his family and was taken away. Due to her outstanding abilities, she became Zane's right-hand woman after he had established the Spears organization. She had tried to keep things short and simple, but her experience made her family both emotional and distressed. They were saddened that she had suffered so much out there and were left aghast at how she had weathered through everything on her own. Even up until now, she was the one protecting them. It was simply a stroke of fortune for them to be able to get such a good daughter back. And yet, they had still wronged her gravely, and with both Damien and Dylan thinking that her academic results would bring shame to the family, they had also failed to defend her due to the fact that their relationship with her wasn't strong at all. At this moment, Daniel's guilt racked him. Nicole, Mom and Dad have really done you dirty. Both Sean and Steve too looked at Nicole. It's because we did not have much time together, and we didn't get to know you better. The time that should have been spent with Nicole back then was stolen by Nora. They were unable to understand Nicole better, and they did not spend nearly enough time together for the past 6 months either, and that made them feel extremely guilty. Nicole looked at the display of guilt on the faces of her parents and brothers, and for the first time, she felt quite conflicted. When she returned home to this family, she knew that they were blood-related. However, she had never expected herself to be as close to them as family members who had grown up together since they were children. After all, they had been separated for so many years, and were like strangers who just got to know each other again. Thus, even she could not directly open her heart to them, much less to these few adult men. However, Stanley, Spencer and Samuel had tried their best to help her in school already. Both Sean and Steve had graduated but would treat her well every time they saw her, and she really felt that the Riddles owed her nothing. Taking a deep breath, Nicole said, with a serious look on her face, I've never blamed anyone for this. I need time to blend into the family, and all of you needed time to understand me too. Everything that had happened was normal. If you want to pin the blame onto something, then blame the time stolen away by Nora. She too had secretly thought of the time that Nora had taken from them. However, it was also because of the mistakes back then that had molded her into a strong individual today. That was why she could not blame anyone for it. The last words Nicole said moved Daniel and the rest of the family. Yeah, if we had not mistaken Nora for Nicole back then, we would have definitely continued to look for her. If she had come home a little earlier, everyone would have treated her like a princess. It was just that all of the love and enthusiasm they had was misplaced on Nora instead. As such, they needed time to know and better understand Nicole, and work hard to integrate her into the family. Smiling, Sean got up. "You're right. We finally know all that we need to know about you, and from today onwards, no matter what sort of danger you'll face in the future, you have this big brother standing by your side." Although Nicole was strong, the danger she faced was something they could never expect. "I must protect Nicole." "Me too. You don't need to live in campus this semester. We'll have your back," Steve added with a serious look as he kept his gaze at Nicole. "Yeah, I don't think you should stay in campus," Stanley piled on. "We'll move back home to keep you guarded as well." Samuel and Spencer decided at once. Seeing that her 5 brothers were intending to protect her, unafraid of the danger that might come, Nicole felt warm and conflicted at the same time. She had never felt something quite like this before. So, this is what it feels like to have a family, a bond. Nicole suddenly felt that she was in constant danger and had brought harm to them all by extension. "Nicole, please promise me this. If there's anything that you need, we will help you. We are a family. All of us will help you," Daniel said as he eyed Nicole's look of embarrassment, trying to comfort her. "I wasn't aware of her situation before, but now that I know, how could I let her live by herself?" he thought. "Yes, bring Mrs. Wallace Sr. over and keep her protected as well," Gloria said. Nicole was not only an agent, but she was also the bearer of the fire crest. Thus, it was inevitable that she would become the target of many others. Because of this, being at the Riddle residence would somewhat be the safer option. Still, Nicole could not believe that her parents had thought of Mrs. Wallace Sr. "Okay, thanks Mom and Dad," she said. It was not until today that Nicole felt that she had an actual spot in the family. "Don't be silly. You don't have to thank us." Daniel frowned, pretending to be offended. "Now that we have gotten it all settled, we will protect you no matter what from now on. To us, you're still that little girl of ours, and we will not allow you to face anything perilous on your own in the future. Do you understand?" Gloria said while wiping her tears away. "Understood." Nicole nodded as she looked at Gloria, feeling unspeakably moved in her heart. But upon beholding her mother's complexion, she could not help but whisper, "Mom, I'm sorry. I must have scared you when I fired the shot." Gloria shook her head quickly. "You didn't scare me. Your mother isn't that weak. It was Nora. I was afraid she would take a shot at your father. Fortunately, you—" Gloria choked up and her eyes became red as she attempted to speak. "Let's not talk about it anymore. I'm going to go upstairs and calm down for a bit. You guys can get Albert to prepare dinner." It seems that she no longer has any strength to make dinner tonight, Nicole thought. "Okay." Nicole nodded her head. Daniel helped Gloria up the stairs as he noticed that she was still terrified. As they were going up the stairs, Gloria began complaining, "You idiot. You almost died." The Riddle children watched as their parents went up the stairs while bickering. They all looked at each other and smiled. Nicole had also joined along, which was a rare sight to see. As night approached, Nicole laid down with a sigh of relief after taking a shower. It was then that Jared called her, his voice a little lower than usual. "Did Nora shoot you today?" As it was totally unexpected for Jared to have heard of this news so soon, Nicole issued another sigh. "No, but it would have been much worse if she had pointed the gun at me, or else, I wouldn't have opened fire." Though Nicole did not mention who was in the right and wrong, Jared had already guessed that something significant must have transpired. Otherwise, she would not have shot Nora in front of her whole family. "Don't worry, I won't be going easy on her. Until the murder charges are set, I will let her rot in prison and let her feel what it's like to be living in a hellhole," Jared said, his voice stern. Jared was the sort of person who would not let anyone get away with hurting those around him. He was definitely determined to make Nora's life a living hell. Nicole had not expected that Jared would be so determined to prove Nora's crime in a single day, so much so that she was impressed that he had done this. "Thank you." Nicole thanked him in a low voice, knowing that Jared must have spent a lot of time and effort. However, Jared was frustrated by her word of thanks. "Boyfriends are not for thanking, but for kissing. You owe me 3 kisses." "Since when do I owe?" What kind of nonsense is this guy talking about? She wondered. "Didn't you say you wanted to thank me? I don't take verbal thanks. Tangible actions are required." 3 kisses, no less than that, Jared demanded. This left Nicole dumbfounded. For a kiss, this guy really went all out. A helpless smile crossed her face as she agreed. "Okay, I'll give you 5 the next time we meet."
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.